Hello friends, and welcome to another video. I'm Maile if you're new here. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about some things I've been thinking about for a really long time that I'm doing much differently in this new year, 2022. So let me explain. I have set New Year's resolutions since all the time. I filmed videos about it. In fact, we talked all about in our last year's New Year's resolution video, which I'll link up here, how we were setting super smart goals and being really specific about measuring them and tracking them. And here's the deal. I've tried that system so many times. I've tried setting really great boundaries for myself and super intense criteria and holding myself accountable and setting really super measurable, trackable, every single day goals. And 99.9% of the time, it just ends up setting me up for failure. And I end up making myself feel bad about not working out 4 times in 1 week, or reading 2 less books than I said I would in a year, or whatever the goal is. And I've changed it so many times. I've done so many different variations of different goals, but every time it feels like I'm just setting myself up to fail, and it doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. And so I've had this epiphany of what I'm going to do differently in 2022 in terms of New Year's resolutions. And I put air quotes around New Year's resolutions because they're sort of resolutions, but they're sort of not. Definitely not the kind of resolutions that people think of when they think goals or New Year's resolutions or whatnot. So I'm gonna tell you about them. And I hope you'll see where I'm coming from, and maybe even try this tactic yourself if you have many times set yourself up with a lofty or super intense measurable goal and failed. So I wanna take you back to 2019 because I set the most ridiculous New Year's resolution in 2019, and it's the only New Year's resolution I've ever fully accomplished. And that 2019 New Year's resolution was, in 2019, I am going to take less ibuprofen. Yes, that was my one New Year's resolution. That was it. There wasn't, I'm going to take 75% of the ibuprofen intake that I typically take in a year, or I'm going to cut ibuprofen use by 3 tablets a month, or no, it was not a measurable, ridiculous ibuprofen, lofty, don't take it goal. And it also wasn't, I'm never going to take ibuprofen again. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't this lofty, like super specific, super hard to meet goal. And it was about ibuprofen, for goodness sake, okay? Like, kind of a low stakes goal, if we're being real. So I literally just said, I'm gonna take less ibuprofen. That's my New Year's resolution, period, point blank, that's it. No other explanation needed. I'm just gonna take less ibuprofen this year. And I'll be darned if it didn't freaking work, okay? Every single time I went to go get ibuprofen, if I had a headache, if I was cramping, if my sinuses weren't treating me good, I typically just, without thinking, go in and pop 4 ibuprofen. And even preemptively, I would pop ibuprofen. I'd wake up and think, oh, I'm gonna have a headache today. I better take some ibuprofen so I don't. Like, and that's not good for your liver. I was just thinking health-wise, I'd like to take less ibuprofen so I don't run into any liver issues down the road, or I mitigate any liver issues I've already created for myself by taking so much ibuprofen. And every single dang time that I would open that bottle, I would second guess myself. Do I really need this ibuprofen? Am I really hurting that bad? Can I push through? Is this something maybe my heating pad could help with, or stretching, or some caffeine? Could I go without this ibuprofen right now, or do I really need it? And it worked. I took way less ibuprofen, and not only did I take way less ibuprofen in 2019, but that's just a habit I developed by keeping that at the forefront of my brain and not having it be this giant overthinking goal. It really has been a lasting change, a lasting habit that I established in my life just by simply resolving to take less. That's it, 2 words, take less. No more specific than that. And it worked. That's the only New Year's resolution that's ever worked for me. And I really had this epiphany the other day when I was thinking, I probably should film a New Year's resolution video like every other YouTuber out there. And I really should think about going into the new year, what I want my goals and my focus to be and how I want to better myself. But honestly, I've been struggling this whole year with self-worth and just making myself feel bad, dogging on myself, and just not having the most positive attitude and outlook when it comes to me. And I really want to change that. And I'm going into 2022 wanting to feel positive and wanting to do things that bring me joy and make me feel good and give myself a freaking break on things that don't. And so I decided on 5 things. 5 things that I want my focus for the year to be on. And they're extremely simple. I tied them and modeled them after that one New Year's resolution that worked for me to take less ibuprofen. And that's very much the theme of how these New Year's resolutions are structured, plus adding the underlying feeling that I want to have of loving myself more and creating an environment and a mindset for myself that is positive and is full of self-love. So here we go. Here are my 5 goals that I'm really focusing on in 2022. So the first one is the only one that's measurable in really any real way. And it's because it's something that does bring me a lot of joy and actually a challenge that I love setting for myself every year and working towards. It's super motivating and it's tied to something that I love doing more than most things in this world. And it's just my book goal. This year, I want to read 40 books. So that's my goal. That's what I'm striving toward. If I don't make it, I don't make myself feel bad about it. My goal last year was 30 books, and I would have hit that goal super, super easily in a normal year. But I had at my previous job, which I will not go into details at all because I just don't think that's fair. But I had a couple of months where I basically stopped functioning as a human because I was so incredibly stressed and overworked. And I did not read one book in the span of 2 months. And typically I read 5 or 6 or 7 books in a month. And so that kind of killed my goal. I tried really hard at the end of the year to push and get to it. And I almost got there. I read 28 books out of 30. I totally would have made it in a normal year. So now that I'm out of that situation and in a much healthier work-life balance for myself, I'm setting a stretch goal and I'm pushing to 40, and by golly, I'm gonna do it or I'm gonna get close. So that's the kind of goal that isn't intrinsically tied to my self-worth. It's tied to a thing I love so much, which is reading and just encouraging myself and challenging myself to do as much of it as possible. So that's the only one I'm setting something specifically measurable, the 40 number, if you will. But that one brings me joy. And it's not gonna cause me strife or bad thoughts about myself. So all the 4 rest of the goals are very simple. So the next one is I want to walk more. That's all. I just want to walk more. I love going on walks. Eric and I usually do a walk pretty much every night, it feels like, in the spring and summer and fall. But since winter has struck and life gets busy and holidays come, we haven't done it in a really long time. And I work from home, so it's super easy for me to pop out for 20 minutes during the day on a break and go clear my head, or Eric and I to in the evenings go on a nice walk in the neighborhood and actually talk to each other and connect with each other without the distractions of watching a show or looking at our phones. It's just a really great thing for me mentally that helps make me feel better and encourage me that I'm doing something active, and helps me connect with my spouse if we go together, or spend time with my dogs if I want to take them with me. So it's something really positive in my life that makes me feel super good when I do it, but I don't always do it. So I want that to be one of my goals at the forefront of my mind, to walk more, and that's it. So the next one is to listen to my body. I have made so many goals about I want to lose X amount of pounds. I want to work out X amount times per week. I want to eat X many calories. I want to do intermittent fasting. I want to join Weight Watchers. I want to blah, 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 blah. And I fail them all, okay? I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I fluctuate all the freaking time. I'll link a video here where I talk about my weight loss and my weight gain story if you're interested in that, because I'm very open about it. I talk about it because there shouldn't be shame around that topic. But I have made myself feel so bad this year, so bad, about needing to diet and needing to lose weight and needing to look a certain way. And I'm freaking done with that. Like, I am so done with it. I just want to be a healthy person who makes good choices most of the time and gets active and exercises when it feels good and just doesn't think about weight. I just want to be the kind of person that doesn't think about weight. It doesn't care. That buys a shirt because I think it's cute and it looks good on my body, not because of what size the tag says. Like, I want to be that kind of person. And that has been a huge, huge blocker on me this year. And where a lot of my bad feelings about myself have come from. And I'm just over it. I'm me regardless of how much I weigh or what size of clothing I wear. I can rock a look no matter how much I weigh. I can feel good about myself and hype myself up and put effort into me as a human at any weight. And weight shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be this thing I'm constantly obsessed with and monitoring all the freaking time, every day, multiple times a day. So my goal is to listen to my body and to make choices that make my body feel good. If I wake up and I'm super, super sore and my body hurts, I'm not gonna get on the treadmill. I'm not gonna get on the Peloton. I'm gonna give my body rest because that's what it's telling me it needs. If I eat a little bit too much at lunch and start feeling nauseous, instead of just continuing to eat badly the rest of the evening because I've already blown it, I'm gonna listen to my body telling me that I'm nauseous and maybe eat something a little healthier because it won't be as bad on my stomach. If my body is telling me I've had a really, really, really hard day and I really want some freaking cake, then you guys, I'm probably gonna eat the cake. I'm gonna listen to my body. And if it's telling me, Maile, you really want cake to satisfy your emotions right now in this minute, maybe I'm just gonna eat the cake and it's okay, you know? And maybe because I make it not that big of a deal, I'll just eat the cake and move on instead of eating the cake and then wanting to eat the cake again and again and again and again because it's a bad choice and I've already blown it, you know? Wow. Okay, and then the next goal ties very intimately into the goal of listening to my body, and it is to stop weighing myself. I'm gonna stop weighing myself. It sounds like the most revolutionary goal I could ever set because my mind is so intrinsically programmed to get on the scale after pretty much every meal that it's gonna be the hardest thing I do all year to just not weigh myself. But I think it's gonna do wonders for my mental health and make me feel good about who I am as a human and my character qualities, and not make me feel good or bad about the human I am based on how much the number on the scale says this morning or this afternoon or this evening or right before I go to bed, because that's how many times I weigh myself, like 20 times sometimes. I have OCD, so it gets a little obsessive, you know? So I put my scale away. I've told Eric that he needs to be my scale monitor. I'm not allowed to do it. I'm just not allowed. I'm not gonna weigh myself anymore. My self-worth is no longer going to be tied to the way that I look, period. Not weighing myself and listening to my body. That's it, that's all. And walking more, that'll help my mental health too. Oh, and then there's the fourth one. What's the fourth one? Oh yeah, the fourth one. The fourth one is a target to my mental health, which when I'm not thinking about myself and how much I hate myself all the time, I laugh, but LOL, it's too true. I am thinking about all the people that I love and the worst case scenario happening to them. So, and literally anytime my mom calls me, anytime my dad calls me, anytime my brother or my sister call me, pretty much anytime Eric even calls me, I think someone's dead, someone's been in a car accident, something horrible has happened, and I'm about to get life-altering news. Like, that is how my brain constantly operates. I think about my family situation constantly all the time. What if something happens to them? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? What if that doesn't work out? What if this falls through? Like, I am thinking about the people in my life and bad things happening to them, probably even more than I'm thinking about how much weight I need to lose. And that's really bad. I worry way too much. And part of that, a big, huge part of that is what's called ruminating thoughts. And that's just programmed inside of me because of my OCD. And it's always been this thing that I'm like, well, blame it on OCD. Like, there's nothing to do about it. I take my medicine, but you know, it doesn't curb the worry all the way. I still worry like crazy. But the thing is, I haven't actually put real effort into trying to change it with my mind and my mindset and focusing on worrying less. So that's my last goal. My last goal is to worry less. And so every time I start thinking about something, I'm just gonna tell myself, Maile, you're supposed to be worrying less. It's gonna be all right. Take a breath. It'll be figured out. We'll get it taken care of. And even if the worst case scenario happens, you've got people in your life that love you and will help you, and you'll get through it. You're strong. So stop worrying about things that haven't happened and probably most likely aren't going to happen, and just try to be happy. So that's it. My 5 life-altering, super measurable, intense New Year's resolutions that I'll never do again. Just kidding. My 5 super easy, mindset, mental health focused, completely unspecific goals that I think will actually maybe work a lot better than any measurable, intense, specific goal I could set. I'm feeling really good about it. I'm not feeling super like, hardcore, let's go, let's do this. We gotta make this year the best yet. No, I'm just feeling like I'm kind of done holding myself to these crazy standards that I'm constantly not meeting. Let's do something different and maybe give that a try and see what happens. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see what happens and hope you'll come along with me. That's it. That's what I'm doing differently in 2022. And maybe you'll think about doing it too. Let me know down below if you've got any thoughts for me. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!